I think I agree with that. I have a friend who brags about how he gets like free premium content from being on like dating apps, like being on Bumble, and people will just kind of like throw it at him. It is very cringe.
Okay, so the question these 304s, these modern women, are responding to is whether or not they agree or disagree with the statement that boys who get hung up on sex work are cringe. And before I even get to analyzing their responses to this question, let me just take a moment to appreciate how horrifying the landscape on dating apps has become. Going on Bumble and getting free subscriptions to OnlyFans is not something to brag about. And it's sad and disconcerting that there are that many women these days who have OnlyFans who go out and do this stuff. I haven't been on a dating app in years, so I have no recent personal stories as to how bad it's gotten, but that sounded bleak.
Samantha, agree with this statement or disagree?
No comment.
No comment?
Like hung up, if you
Yeah,
mean.
I'm not sure what, well, hung up on sex
I would think
work.
of it as like,
I mean,
some of these comments here that are like, I would never, or like betas are for, I don't fucking know, like shit like that. Like, yeah, like don't be like that. But
yeah. I mean,
if you're like open-minded, cool. But like,
right.
if you're just like absolutely not because she's a sex worker, like come on, she's a person.
Oh, she's a person. Yeah, who voluntarily objectifies themselves on a regular basis for everyone to see for $5.99. Excuse the vast majority of men for actually wanting to date a woman who's respectable and presentable, who you can't just find getting railed online for $15 a month.
But I guess we have to sort of figure out hung up in what sense. Like,
Yeah.
is that just in response to like some guys would have an issue dating a woman who did sex work?
I think it's that they don't date women because they
Well,
live their whole sex life online. Maybe.
There we go. If you wouldn't date a quote-unquote sex worker, then you're just an incel. You have any kind of standards at all for your partner's sexual history, her past, then you must be totally wrapped up in the online world and you're just an irrational loser.
The men or the women live their whole sex life online?
Like the guys, like they literally, like that's kind of what an incel is. They like just kind of live online and don't actually communicate with real life.
Yeah, I
like,
have no idea what.
But I mean, most women aren't sex workers, though.
Like, what's
No,
an
I
incel?
know, but they kind of live their sex life like through their computer screen because they think that like paying for all this premium content is like them like getting like actual attention.
Okay, can someone explain this to me? We went from men having a problem with dating a quote-unquote sex worker to these men are all totally wrapped up online and all paying for OnlyFans. I'm not paying for OnlyFans. Are any of you paying for OnlyFans? Is she saying men's egos have been inflated because they're paying for premium OnlyFans content and that's why they think they're above dating an OnlyFans girl? Because I know a lot of guys who aren't buying this stuff and would say the same thing. It's not just incels who have an issue with this. Normal men do not want to date a 304 either.
It's, yeah.
But like, I mean, but also, I mean, all these sex workers, like, what a blessing, right? Because
Exactly.
it's like they release so much pressure for all of these men, and it's like, if we didn't have them, who knows what else would be going on? You know, it's like, why put all the stigma on something that's just touch and pleasurable? You know, I think that there's just caked on religious programming around sexuality, but actually, it's you're just having a deep connection with somebody. Obviously, like, you know, they get very dramatic or whatever in that, but you know, it's just art. It's just expression.
You hear that? You have any kind of problem with a woman's past, her sexual behavior, then that's just religious dogmatism. That's just the influence of religion on your mind. That's really the only thing that's keeping men from dating sex workers, according to this woman. This is such a ridiculous thing for this woman to say, and it shows that she just fundamentally doesn't understand men or what men are looking for in partners at all. And did you hear that at the beginning? What she thinks about herself, what she has to tell herself? That quote-unquote sex workers are such a blessing? They're not these walking petri dishes of STDs who are loyal to no man at the lowest rung of society. They're actually doing a public service. They're servicing all these incels, these sexually frustrated incels. They provide wank material for countless betas and neets. Really, we should all be thanking them. They're essential workers, just like a doctor or a nurse. There's a delusion, pure delusion in this woman's mind.
So wait, you think that so you don't think that a guy having a problem like dating a woman who's done porn, done sex work, done OnlyFans, like, so you're not okay with it, or you think it's cringe if a guy like has an issue with it for someone he dates?
Yeah, I think I just said it. It's like, I mean, the person can decide if he wants to date this person or not, but I just mean like celebrating the women that do sex work because it's like a really big job, you know? So I think I'm just saying both.
Yeah.
You do not get a pat on the back for being a 304. You will not be celebrated by me or any of my followers who believe my message, or any man with common sense, for that matter, for doing what you do.
I don't think that women should be like necessarily shamed for doing sex work or anything. But I do think that in the same way that women are allowed to have preferences, standards, boundaries, I think men are totally within their right to say, hey, I wouldn't want to have her I think she should be free to do it. I have nothing against it, but as far as what I'd want in a partner, I wouldn't want to have a long-term relationship with a girl who did porn, did sex work. So I don't know if it's when you say hung up on sex work or cringe. I mean, I don't know if hung up, I think it's actually a perfectly reasonable stance for a guy to say, hey, I just don't want to date a woman who has done sex work. It's not necessarily a judgment on sex work, but as far as what you want in a partner, I think it's a pretty reasonable thing. So,
but I think if everything is absolutely perfect with the person and the only reason you don't want to date them is because they're a sex worker, I think that is the result of stigma of sex work.
Yeah, see, there we have it. Liberals, progressives, and feminists, their brains exist in this fantasy world where a person can engage in any type or sort of sexual behavior and it says nothing about their character. They do not believe in pattern recognition when it comes to one of their sacred cows, one of their protected groups, be that ethnic or religious minorities, people in the LGBT plus whatever community, and in this particular case, women. There is no scenario, there is no conceivable situation where everything else is fine with a person and they just happen to be an OnlyFans girl. As though everything else is going right in their life, they're a perfect 10 out of 10, perfectly amicable person, and this is just the one weird incidental thing about how they live their life. And as though this lifestyle comes with no consequences either. It's not stigma, I just don't like the idea of dating a loose woman. Is that so hard for them to understand? That men don't want to do that? Is that so hard for them to understand that you don't want to date a girl where you can just find her pictures, naked pictures all over the internet? OnlyFans launched in July of 2016 and things are already this bad. Lord help us.
Is it so
It's like you don't want to date them because you look down on sex work. If she is perfect in every way and the only reason you don't want to date her is because she's a sex worker.
No woman is perfect in every way and incidentally just does OnlyFans or does quote-unquote sex work. This profession is either the result of pure desperation or a long line of bad choices and decisions.
I mean, couldn't it... I guess there's varying levels of sex work, right? Like, I think it'd be perfectly reasonable if the girl you're talking to, she's an active porn actress, and that means she's fucking other men. I think it's perfectly reasonable as a guy to say, I enjoy monogamy. I would not be comfortable with you sleeping with other men while we're intimate.
I see what you're saying, but I also do think in her eyes, obviously, this is my opinion too. In her eyes, like, she's not in a relationship with those people. It's her job.
But
So
but
it's
she's
not-
having sex with.
So you're saying a monogamy sexual relationship?
I mean, most monogamous relationships, when we speak about monogamy, we are speaking kind of the holistic. We're speaking sexually when we're
Okay,
speaking
just-
about monogamous relationships.
I
I mean,
see.
certainly there's an emotional component. Like if you're flirting with a guy, you're not having
Mm-hmm.
sex with him, that could be considered cheating. But I mean, I think that's sort of the ultimate way cheating would manifest itself, at least as viewed by men.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a monogamous relationship with a girl and she's sleeping with other men, you're not really in a monogamous relationship.
It's just her job.
See, that's, I think,
No,
the
no,
difference.
no,
Like,
no.
I think
Modern women don't even know what monogamy means anymore. That's how bad it's gotten. And I get it. I bet I'll have critics that say these women are probably worse than average, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But you know their views are not unrepresentative. You know there are tons, millions, if not tens of millions of women in this country who think exactly the same way. Oh, well, she just sees it as work, so you have to be fine with it. This is what happens when men do not put their foot down. Whoever this woman's father was did not put his foot down, and this is the result. Yeah, she's getting her back blown out by different guys on camera every week, but, you know, she's coming home to you. She lies down in bed with you, so you should just be fine with it, or else you're influenced by religious superstition and dogma. Any problem you may have with her lifestyle is just unfounded prejudice. Get real. This is just so... It is so bizarre that someone can actually say these things. I bet you could go to like hookers in the second or third world, and they would have more common sense about what they do for a living than this woman does.
I mean, what else is it? I don't
No,
really think
but
she's
what if-
emotionally invested in it.
But it's not about being emotionally invested. It's about,
it's the physical part of it.
yeah, I mean, she's sleeping with, she's having sex with somebody else. So she's not really committed to you.
Then I guess at that point, they're just not the right people for each other. If she loves what she's doing, and he can't stand that, at that point, it's kind of like, why would you be together?
But you think that it would be okay if you're in a monogamous relationship, but she does, it's okay if she's sleeping with another dude. At that point, it's not really a monogamous relationship, is it?
I think they themselves, as this actress or the porn star, would find it to just like strictly be her job, like as their profession, I think.
Okay.
So to them, it wouldn't be like a threat to their relationship.
Yeah.
But so would there be an expectation on the guy to not
stay?
sleep with other women? He's not a porn star.
Okay.
Because that's not his job.
Yeah.
He's not making money from
But
it.
so what you're saying is that she's a porn star, she's sleeping with other people, but it's not emotional. What if it's not emotional for him, but he's not a porn star? Under those circumstances, would it be okay?
I also think it's like, also if you think about it, it's a job and he's not doing it as a job. Like this supports her life. Like
No,
That's her way
I
of
understand.
income,
I understand that, and if the guy knows going in, like, but it's not gonna. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a monogamous relationship. Like it's just not. It can't be a monogamous relationship.
Herein lies the inherent selfishness of these women. Obviously, a man can have no strings attached sex with a bunch of women and not care. But obviously the same isn't the case for a woman. But they still have this double standard if the woman is involved in this OnlyFans work, is involved in this adult content. Oh, well, it doesn't support him, it supports her to get railed by a bunch of dudes on camera. She can find another line of work. The economy is bad, but it's not that bad. The long and short of this is, these women want you to literally be fine with the idea of being a cuck. And not just a cuck for a porn star. You would be astounded as to how close their views are to the sensibilities of the average modern woman.
It could be perhaps unilateral. It could be
Emotionally,
unilaterally like
Woman.
she's sleeping with all these other guys. He's loyal to her. I mean, I suppose that I don't think that's a great scenario for the guy, but
I think it's all about emotional maturity. I think if he can handle it, that's so great, awesome. If he can't, then what's the point of like being jealous or like being salty about her doing her job? There's no point. She's doing her job. She's making her money. She can support herself.
But do you think that a guy who wouldn't want to date a woman,
Then he just shouldn't do it.
but do you think he's emotionally immature
I
if he
don't
wouldn't be
know.
willing to date a woman who was actively, sleeping with other men for her porn career?
I think it's fine to say I would never date someone that is a porn star.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You and the other two women here really haven't been saying that for the past 10 minutes or so, but whatever.
But if you're going to get jealous about it, if you enter a relationship and then get like
Oh, of
upset
course.
about it, then that's your problem to deal with.
Of course. I mean, if she's disclosed that she does porn, you it's what you're signing up for, You can't really, say, hey, I didn't know this was going to be the case, so.
But some people end up feeling that anyway, even though it's a very dumb decision to get involved romantically with one of these women. It's still a healthy response to get angry if your girlfriend is literally an open hole on camera for anyone to see. It would show that a person in this situation hasn't totally lost their mind in getting involved with these women, that they still have some level of self-respect and decency inside themselves. But, anyway, this world is topsy-turvy. This has been Red Channels. Please like and share this video, and I will catch you in the next one.